Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to Caminante, where your path is made by walking. The podcast where empires arise and cultures collide. Are we still in the same?
Empires rise, cultures collide.
Love it. Well, I gotta say, today we're gonna dive into something that I believe we'll struggle at one point, especially if you're migrating, you are living in other countries. It's all about, those language barriers, the cultural adaptation, and how they shape our personal and professional growth. Baby?
Yes.
Take it from here.
Sure. My name is Tiffany. It's so great to be with you guys. This is my amazing husband, Luis, and we are your hosts behind Caminante. First things first, we need to take a moment and just thank you guys for the outpouring of love and support.
That's right.
It's just, we are blown away and we are so excited about everything that is going to be coming, and we're here for you. So keep subscribing, liking, commenting. You can find us across all social media platforms at the Caminante Pod. We want to hear from you, and let's go ahead and pop into it.
Great momentum, Tiff. You pump me up. You pump me up. I gotta say, you are the heart of this thing. So I love it. Thank you for such an amazing introduction. So tell me about this. I think it's a great topic. I did experience that firsthand. I'm sure when you travel in the different countries that you and we have traveled, you may have experienced that as well. So tell me about it. What do you think about it? I think it's a great topic because it's gonna translate not only from the personal level, but also career, professional, right? Business. So tell me.
Well, for me, when you only know one way, you only know one way. And that's one thing that I love about this podcast and being married to you, because I only knew one way for so long. And not that it was the wrong way, but I do feel like sometimes we can be, it's a word, ignorant. I don't know.
Let's use a different one too.
Okay.
How about? Well, it's limited. I'm gonna say it's limited. You're limited based on what you know. We can call it paradigms, right?
Okay.
We can call it framework. The framework that we grew up with.
He's so tactful. Call it what it is. If you don't know, you don't know. But you're so sweet.
Well, it is important to use that type of language, because I would say this. I do believe that even though, let's say, you're world travel or you're multicultural exposed, you're still limited to the exposure of the cultures that you're being exposed to the languages that you're being exposed to. And I think this podcast is going to be amazing because it's not only about language. It goes beyond that. It's not only about words. It goes beyond about cues, body language, right? Slangs, Slangs, right.
That means slangs, y'all.
Is that one of the words that I typically kill? Is that kind of what happens?
You speak perfectly, honey.
No, I know it's not perfect, but I try to communicate at a level that I can say, it's professional.
Very professional.
And I try really hard.
And very romantic.
Oh,
that was one thing. The Latin culture, like Spanish words, there's a lot of them. And that's what, English is one of the easiest languages to learn because It's so, there's one word for one thing outside of read, read, some of those words that you typically, for the most part, generally speaking,
you're right. It's direct.
It's direct, and it's great for business. The Spanish language was so, for me, romantic, and the words, it's blew my mind. We went to the the Luis Miguel concert.
You did. Can you believe that? She loves Luis Miguel, by the way. Let me just say that for those that know.
I love Luis Regalado. I like Luis Miguel. But
you were very happy in that concert.
I was so happy because It's just like the words,
Right, the
how
songs.
how they blend together, the words. It's like not only a different language, like yes, the words are different, but how it opens your heart and your mind to touch places that you could not be touched otherwise. Like it's, I wish we had.
And we're going to talk about that. Because I think speaking other languages, your brain wires in a different form.
Right.
I'm not going to say make you smarter. I don't think that that's what I'm trying to say. But it makes you find other ways and paths to problem challenges instead of you just only speak one language.
Right.
Right? Because it opens this framework that we're talking about. It really expands it. And there's not only one way, one word to do it. There's multiple ways that you can do it. And learning different languages allows you to get those different wires to tackle things in life from different perspectives, different angles, different standpoints. So I think you're right. I don't think it's only the words that you're trying to say about the music in Spanish. It's also the intent because of the culture, right? The words are the tools that artists use, but the context of the culture is naturally a romantic culture that when you hear songs, they're very profound, they are deep. You know what I mean? Even though we are losing some of that because different influences are going on, I think you're right. It's not only the words; it's also the profoundness that you find into those lyrics. Right.
That's right. Like, what is the Luis Miguel, like, Flower Girl? What is that song?
No, I think that's actually Mark Anthony. Isn't that Mark Anthony?
Oh, we did go to Mark Anthony,
right,
too.
Mark Anthony, too. You're mixing them, but it's good. It's good.
I live a great life with you, honey. That was an amazing concert.
We do.
No, I love the culture.
Yes.
I love the culture.
Well, so, one of the things that I do know that people that expose themselves to other countries, traveling, it's the funny things that happen in the way. Like, I remember, I don't know if you remember one that when you may have gone to either Venezuela, when we were building the hotel in Nicaragua, but there is one that, I always remember, and my friend Scott, you remember Scott, right?
Yeah.
Scott Schreeman. He was actually my tutor. He's the one that brought me into American culture at the corporate level. I was very young at that age, and I remember I was sick one day. And I was trying to tell him that I have some sort of like a stomach ache. And I told him that I was intoxicated. So he couldn't understand what I was trying to say. And he says, intoxicated? I said, yes, I'm intoxicated. I'm not feeling...
Right.
And then when I was trying to explaining what it was, he just laughed. I said, I don't think you're intoxicated. Intoxicated happens when you drink too much alcohol, right? Which that wasn't the case.
Right.
But imagine talking to your superior, to your boss, telling him that you're intoxicated.
And you're super proper. Some people may talk to their boss about you wouldn't. You're
I was
super
very
proper.
serious. I said, Scott, I'm sorry. I have to leave. I'm intoxicated. And the way he was understanding it was, are you drunk? Right. That was the first thing that he asked me. I said, no, I'm not drunk. I'm intoxicated. So, things like that.
And beach was a big one. I remember when I first met you.
And I did that publicly, by the way.
Beach was a big one.
Talking to, in front of people, saying that word for me is it's difficult.
Well, I have so much compassion for people who come to this country. They want to, for the most part, better their lives. They want something more. They want to contribute.
Yeah, the ones that are looking for the American dream.
Yes.
Right? Do the right thing, hard work, that kind of thing.
And so several times I've heard people talk about how Americans or others here have... I'm trying to think of a nice way to say it, and I just don't think there is.
Well, no, there is a way.
You properly say it, because I don't want to be, but
Well, imagine. Well, finish your point. I don't want to interrupt it, but
people who don't understand what it's like to speak two languages because they only know one language.
Right.
Don't have the same level of understanding or compassion and can be very judgmental towards others with accents or towards others who are saying the word different. And that burns my belly. You know what I mean? Because you know three languages. So two and a half. Say, right. Anyways, you get what I'm saying, right? So people who only know one language have the audacity, I need to say.
Because they're limited, right? They're limited to what they know. That's kind of what...
But this is common with a lot of my Spanish friends, and I don't like to hear that because I think that... I don't know. I'm a big fan of justice and being kind to others, and I just think that's so unkind. So,
I would say this:
be kind to others who may speak with an accent. Or
I would say this: it's a two-way street. It's actually both. It falls in both areas. It depends on which part of the country you are, right? If you are in a area that it's a lot of people from different cultures and all that, they may be more exposed to. But I do agree with what you're saying. Actually, I lived through that. I went through that, but it's also mental. You may hear it from some of your friends, right, that speak Spanish, that they feel judged, or but it's also mental. We also do that moving our mind. And I went through that in corporate. I remember, and you know me in corporate. I mean, I took some names and kicked some butt, right?
Yes, you did, honey.
But here's
my pinnacle winner.
But here's how I started it, right? You're insecure because you're competing in a second language, so you're already kind of like with one hand here, right? And then the sword in one hand.
Right.
Then you got to do that publicly. That you got to compete, right, with other people that may understand better the situation locally and all that.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, when you start building that confidence, if you let that get in your mind, that will be your worst enemy. And I do believe that part of those individuals that you talk to is they're still navigating through that complexity of insecurities, right? Of it is my second language, and now they're using that as an excuse.
Right.
And I think that's a big, big barrier that we, the ones that actually come from other countries, we create in our own minds. And I challenge everybody that is in that position, please go ahead and break that barrier, because that is what's holding you back. It is not the other person that feels that is judging you because of ignorance or limitation of, exposure. It is you. It is in your mind, and you are actually causing the own defeat because of the insecurity that you have created. All that, I'm sorry, my friends, is BS. Take it. Break that barrier. Once you break it, you'll feel the freedom to unleash your potential to achieve major and big, big, big things. So that's what happened with me, but I overcame it. I did it. I took it day by day, and I took the challenge to overcome that. And I think that's why we're here today.
And I'm so proud of you. You're so amazing. And I also want to challenge anybody who may be on the other side and who comes into connection with somebody who may not speak the same language, or may not look the same, or may not be from here, or just may be different than us. May we seek to understand more and learn versus just quickly judging and making quick calls, because the coolest thing happens inside you, and you become this interesting, beautiful, incredible person.
You evolve
when we open our hearts up to that versus just quickly judging. So.
No, that's a great point, Tiff. Thank you. That's what you did to me, and you gave me that opportunity, and you opened your heart, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you.
I love you, hubby. Wow, you got all romantic.
Well, I mean, of course. But
Talk Spanish to me.
Sí, mi amor. Claro que sí. Dame un segundo y ya continuamos. Pero let's continue about this because I think this is an amazing topic.
Wait, can you do it one more time?
This is an amazing topic.
Can you hold the microphone and like do it one more time?
Sí, mi amor. Dame un segundito, ya va. But here is the thing. Learning other languages, it does change you.
Yes.
It does change you. Actually, when I used to go back to my original country, they don't recognize you.
Right.
Your body language change because
Right.
now you blend in
Right.
to the other culture you've been exposed to. You start having difficulties in communicating, right? Especially you said Spanish, right? You got multiple ways. Now you are being very direct,
Right.
Right? That's kind of what happened to me. You start transforming in this new individual, and that's what I was trying to say. That you kind of evolve in this new persona of blending. You know, you start blending things from one culture to another, and I think makes you really interesting.
Well, you're totally right. And everybody always asks,
Right.
do you speak Spanish? And
Exactly.
and
You're right.
my answer now is yes. Right. Do I know enough to say yes now?
You do, sweetie. I mean, you do speak Spanish. I'm not gonna say fluently, but you can navigate. If I drop you in a country that they only speak Spanish, you'll be able to survive for sure.
Well, I've been learning Spanish for 10 years. When I first met Luis, I was like,
She tricked me.
no, my heart was in the right
tricked
place. I was like, look, I was so committed. I did Rosetta Stone. I did Duolingo. I did the whole thing. And the thing is that you have to use it. You can't just like learn the words. You have to actually use it.
Right.
And like when we were building the hotel and we were there for a month and I was just talking. Yes. But my mom would ask me, why are you talking like that?
Right. With accents.
Yes.
With accent. You start incorporating the accents in your English. That's right.
And I think pretty much, unless I talk to like my brother or my mom, like if I get around my family, my Southern accent, I miss my Southern accent. Right. I don't feel like I have it anymore.
Which comes out when you're speaking with people that are from Georgia, and it does come out. You kind of like, boom, boom.
Oh, really?
Yes, it does.
But I'm not, I feel like with those people for the most part.
No, you are with me. That's why you pick up the accent that I bring
in your language, you say, in my language, you say, how are you, ?
How are you? Yes.
But in your language, if you're going to ask a question, at the end, you give it a little up. Like,
¿Cómo estás?
Right. ¿Cómo estás?
Right.
So when I was with that tutor, once again, trying to learn the language, I would be like, hey, Mom, how are you? You know, and she's like, why are you talking like that?
Right. Sweetie, I mean, we become one. So that's what makes it very interesting. Because you start picking up things from me, I do the same thing, and I'm sure that the directness is probably coming from that blending that you bring into the relationship. Going back to the point on networking, right? And that gets into the relationship of new people because they see you like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. You don't transfer confidence. You don't transfer security, right? And I back in the day when I was in the Chamber of Commerce, I was a director in the Latin Chamber of Commerce. I remember that was an issue for me. And it was because of the language barrier that I was having. You couldn't communicate strong enough or confident enough that impacted you in the relationships that you were trying to do professionally or even personally. Has that happened to you?
I can see how that could happen.
Can happen, right?
Because believe it or not, I believe business is its own language. Like business has a language.
Right.
And you can, when you're speaking in business meetings or with people about business, there can also be that similar experience.
Right.
So, I definitely understand.
How about, so that's the aspect in networking, business, work. How about like sense of humor? Do you see that applying in the sense of humor? Like when you and I we met, did you think I was funny? Did you think I was funny?
Yeah. I still think you're funny.
I know, baby, but was that a different sense of humor?
It is a different, but I don't think that is cultural. I think that's just you.
Well, I don't know. That's the thing. I evaluate my group of friends, and we have a certain sense of humor. And I'm sure you must have picked it up because, I mean, it's very particular.
Yes, it is.
Or you haven't...
Yeah, no,
Right.
it is. But I just don't know if that's cultural. I just feel like, because I have seen and experienced several different friends groups, and I think that could just be...
So you have had the same type of sense of humor, which mine is amazing, guys. I got to tell you, it's very unique. It's funny. It's engaging. Just 5 minutes, I can really get you. But do you find the same
No,
thing?
honey, you are hands down the number one funniest person.
That's my wife.
You have the best
you're so funny.
sense of humor.
No,
Yes.
I got one. But is it the same as friends that you had in school?
No, baby.
American?
No, you're one of a kind.
No, but not because of me. I know I'm one of a kind. I'm talking about
Well, you
my
know what?
sense
Now
of
that
humor.
you mention it,
Culturally speaking.
yes, I do think
I'm trying
that
to see
there
there's a
is,
connection.
because I'm thinking about my other Venezuelan friends.
Okay.
And
they're
you're right.
similar. It's similar, right.
It
There you
is.
go.
There's a certain ease. There's a certain...
Well, I can tell you, when I'm in with people that I work and if I'm in a group of people that I just start seeing, I can pick up quickly where they're from,
Right,
by how they talk, the body language, if they have that a spark in it, the sense of humor, and literally you give me 5 minutes in a room with different, and I can really start figuring out everybody, like start getting an idea by the accent, so I think all those things come into play to the summary of what we were trying to say in the beginning, which is language is not about words alone.
Sure.
It goes beyond that.
Absolutely.
Right? Body language, the cues, the sense of humor that you bring into the mix, the style of how you bring the words all along together to communicate something, right?
Yes.
To prepare and lay the foundation before you say something.
Yes.
Do you see that in business, like how I do it versus...
Yeah, versus
Right.
just coming out and saying
versus
it.
just coming
Yeah.
out. What do you think about that, by the way?
You have a way of building it up. Very nicely.
Right. Okay.
I
All right.
love that. I love that. And I learn a lot from that.
Right.
And I want to adapt that more.
That's beautiful. I like that. I like that. That's something that you, because that says that it's tactful.
It is
It's
very
warm,
tactful.
Right. It's it builds that kind of trust in the relationship. I'm conscious of you.
Yes.
I'm empathetic, but at the same time, I can squeeze my message into it and
Very
be
strategic.
Right.
That's why he got me. We date. For 3 months.
Is that how I got you?
For
Is that what
absolutely. For 3 months, y'all. He was, can I pick you up something for lunch today? Hey, would you like me to bring you a protein shake back? Hey, what are you doing after work today? Hey. For 3 months.
And then what happened?
I didn't want to be distracted. I wasn't ready. I didn't want to open my heart.
Even for a cup of coffee?
I knew what would happen. I knew I needed to keep distance from you because you were too fine. And then we had a work outing publicly where everybody from the office went.
It was, our setting was so open, right? It's like a very open concept office.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like everybody could see you and,
Yeah, we saw each other every day.
every day. Right.
I had a little crush on you. I just thought you were
A
so
little,
fine.
A little. Well, that's interesting.
So we did the public outing. What was it? Bar Louie? Is that what it was?
I think so. Yes.
And you were like, again, you want to ride with me? I'm like, no, thank you. I'll take my own car.
But I could see your eyes already at that point. They were already like diamonds.
You were melting me down.
Diamonds. They were looking like diamonds. Like right now, you got some diamonds in your eyes.
It's a sparkle. I love sparkle.
Well,
so then we went to the thing, and everybody, all our coworkers left, and here we are at 2 a.m. not drinking.
Only the two of us.
Only the two of us. Yep. And he's like, so what about tomorrow? I'm like, well.
It happened multiple times in the office too, right?
What?
That we were left alone.
Yes.
Right.
Well, because we worked a lot. We
Right.
worked a lot. I mean, it was professional.
That's why we were at the top. Yeah, it took me a year just to kind of hit that thing quickly. And I think you were part of that fire.
What does that mean?
You know, the pinnacle.
Oh, right.
Right. The top performing. And I think it was because of how immersed I was with you at work.
Yes.
You know, the time also that I was putting into it, because I was the new, kid in the block.
And they did, they kind of did that thing with you where they didn't want to, I don't remember what it was, but.
Me neither, but
okay.
That sounds good. Well, let me ask you this. Let me take it to a different direction, because I think you and I were living it, and I see people that I know that also living it, but in different ways. So now let's bring the kids into the mix. So when you bring kids, right, with this such a multicultural exposure, and how easy has that been? Because they primarily speak English, very little Spanish, and my thought is that they may lose some of that entity, right? Which is great, it's beautiful, it has a lot to bring in. Most likely they will learn some indirect, right, cues and style of communication and manners. I do believe that, I bring that as well. The formality part of it, how they dress, but then the language, like the words, may get lost. Do you think that that's what's going to happen with our kids?
I think our kids are heaven on earth. Everybody feels that way about their kids, but really ours are heaven on earth. And yes, they primarily speak English.
Yeah, that's what we speak at home.
The PD continues
to push,
and he's right.
No, completely. Yeah, I agree with it. It's challenging, right? It's difficult. I mean, think about how we run the house and how go and the routines and scheduling. Yes. I mean, we got a very strict scheduling to make things work. It's the only way.
Yes.
And try to incorporate the other language into the mix. Even though we try, it's just not consistent.
Right.
You got to be very consistent, because right now they're sponges. They can.
Right.
They know words. They can say few things just by memory.
Yes.
But I just hope that at one point, they get more exposure to that language, because I do believe your brain develops new paths as you are learning new languages. And I do believe that puts somebody in a competitive environment ahead of the game.
They do get competitive advantage.
Yes. And I see that.
Well, I'm happy for them.
I'm actually an example of that. I do think that you think differently.
Yes.
Right? Because of the different path that you have created or developed, just trying to develop or learn a new language.
Right.
You build different paths.
Well, I went to...
Your path is made by walking, by the way.
Yes, it is. Keep walking.
Keep walking.
Keep walking. Head up. Keep walking. I wish I would have traveled sooner. Like my first real, by myself trip was to Honduras when I was, I don't even know.
In a mission
23, 24.
Yeah, it was like a few years before I met
you. That thing. crushed
impactful.
me.
Right.
The trip,
The whole setting.
yes,
Well, because you went in a different purpose. You went for a mission.
yes,
So yeah, you see a different reality that you do not get to see in the United States.
right. But also, in addition to the whole purpose of the trip, was I still was immersed in the culture for 7 or 10 days, and I just wish that I could have had that exposure sooner. Because I feel like the sooner you're exposed to it, that's why it's so hard to travel with them.
Right.
But I mean, they've been to Nicaragua,
benefit.
France, like opening them to
Other
differences.
things. Yes. And have the conversation
soon-
early on,
yes.
right? Of why they are different, why they eat different, why they look different, right?
Yeah.
I think that exposure is beautiful.
And they have the conversations.
Right.
And I think that, like, my 4-year-old, almost 5-year-old, like, he's in a place now where he's like, why, mommy? Why this? Why that?
Right.
Why? And instead of being offended, I feel like people are so easily offended. It's not, he's genuinely curious. And that's
He's
a wonderful
learning.
thing.
He's exploring the world right
Yes.
now. He's in that beautiful phase. of
Yes.
the world is just like, wow. I mean, the water really falls because of gravity. I mean,
Yes.
that kind of thing. So my cultural exposure started very early on. And I think you are saying it correctly. It started at 17 years old. I was very young. I don't know if I was too young. Sometimes I wonder if I
Wow,
was...
that's really young.
Yes. And I wonder if that was...
Wow.
Was that too young? Because I've seen other people do it and it breaks them.
Right.
So I think there's two outcomes. Either it makes you, right? Or it breaks you. Because doing it in an early age, even though it's an amazing experience, it builds you up, right? Depending on that path that you walk on, you can get very insecure, right? Because now you're the one that is different, right? Especially when you're coming from a place in where everything is normal for you, right? Everything is the same language, same colors, same, you know what I'm trying to say? Not only the words, but the body language, the style. I mean, when I came at 17, the cues that I would get from people, there were no cues. People in here, they're very,
Yeah.
over there, you being in Venezuela,
Right.
I mean, the cues you see it everywhere, right? We open the eyes and we are very expressive.
Yes.
And then you hit that wall. It's like,
Cutthroat.
Is it me? Right. Cutthroat. Is it me? And then everything starts reflecting in you are the issue. You are the one that has something of people don't like you. And it's not that. Everything starts here. So it's really a battle with your own self.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I have to describe the whole journey for me is you go into a battle with yourself to build momentum and build your identity in this new path that you're walking in to be this new persona in the other side of it.
I love that.
And I think some get lost, and those are the ones that
Get stuck.
and the process breaks them.
Yes.
But the ones that actually survive it, make it through, it's amazing what comes out of it. I got some friends that went through that experience, and I mean, you know them. I mean, they are
them.
Brilliant, smart,
Yes.
sharp.
And contributing greatly to this country.
Completely. I mean,
The right way.
Tremendously.
You got to do it the right way.
At a very large scale, right? I mean,
Yes.
we're talking about people that have built empires, that have built
incredible
large corporation businesses from nothing, right? Starting from scratch, right? And I got a couple of those that I could bring to this channel at one point.
Yes.
Because their stories are just amazing.
Yes, they are.
How they start. So, again, mine is 17 years old, very early on, tried to make it through a school, starting from scratch, from the cultural level, money-wise, the whole thing, and then build from that in a place that is completely unknown, and then just rise up from that. I think that's spectacular. And like that, there are other stories, right?
Yes.
So I think that it's a process that will make you or break you. And for those that, they go broken because they got lost in the process, or what I gotta say is it's a battle on your own mind. It's you are battling with yourself, nobody else. Nobody else can tell you you're not worth enough, right? They can try, but if you believe it, who's the one that is given the power to?
Yes.
Right?
Sure. Yeah. And I think that doesn't only have to apply to people with different cultures or, that's such a strong, powerful message to not be your own worst enemy.
That's right.
Because it doesn't have to just be because you come into this, that's a very valid and real in your experience situation, but it could also be just being in your own mind,
right?
And rising above any doubts or fears or negative thinking,
right.
Or, you can get in your own way and you can hold yourself back oftentimes.
That's right.
So good, powerful. I love it.
Thank you.
I also just recently heard. And oh man, this was
sweetie?
so good.
What did you hear? Tell me.
Some people are just 12-ounce glasses, and you may be a gallon size.
Wow.
You may be a gallon size person, and they may be 12 ounces. So match the energy that's being put out. I'm a giver. I'm a server.
Yes,
I'm a kind.
Yes, you are.
I don't know. That's just, I don't know. It's who I am. And I get joy from that. And other people may not be that. And they may be 12-ounce glass. I'm a gallon person.
2 gallons, sweetie. 2 gallons.
So
make it 2.
Recognize the energy that's being put forth and match that.
I'm with you.
I'm
with you, sweetie. I love that. That's actually solid.
I love that.
You are 3 gallons, by the way. 3 gallons. Anyway, how do we close all this? How do we put all this together into what we're, talking about?
I think first things first, embrace the awkwardness, the misunderstandings, the confusion, and open your heart and mind to people who are different than you.
Right. So that's from your end, right? That's if you are from that side. I would say from the other side of the coin is make the first step, right? It's one step at a time. When you are in this journey of learning another language, another culture, trust in yourself. Trust that you can do that. That's the first step right here. Once you make it, right, in your mind and you believe it, you will be able to take the hit and punches that process will bring, and then you'll be able to get back up, stand up, and keep moving forward. So that step at a time, kind of like what the title of our podcast is, right? Your path is made by walking. Make that first step, but right here, mentally. It is a long journey. It's challenging, but you got to build that mindset, that strong mindset that is needed, so that way whatever is thrown at you in the process doesn't hold you back.
That's right. Yep. Not getting stuck.
That's
so easy to be in those challenging moments and get stuck and stay there.
That's right.
So I'm proud of you. I love every time I get to hear your story of overcoming, and you're amazing.
I love you too, sweetie. I think I couldn't do this without you. And I think now we got new friends, we got new family, we got a new audience out there that actually is supporting us and
thank
being,
you.
Engaging in this process with us. I do believe that great things are coming out of here. And thank you for being part of this amazing journey that we're taking. Because I think the whole idea at this point in our lives is the legacy that we leave behind, and how many people can we reach out in order to actually bring that extra value to people's life.
Yes.
So thank you, sweetie.
Great job,
for
honey.
making this. I think this will be a great episode again.
Okay? Yes.
The first two, I believe, have been very successful.
Great feedback. And keep
Great
the
momentum.
feedback coming, you guys. Subscribe, like, comment. Don't forget, you can go find me over on Instagram. We have our The Caminante pod. You can find us all over social media. And my Instagram. Don't forget, every misstep is just another step forward. Head up, keep walking.
Thank you, guys. Nice seeing you. Good night. Bye.